It's fun, like actually like feeling like this is real now.
I was gonna say it's like a few days away. We have all this going on.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Just first off, like, just what are your emotions coming into this? You know, doing Chicago, a very fun race, a very fast race. So, like, what are you excited for most?
I think I'm very much excited for just how competitive the race is and the opportunity to run really fast. Like most of the good races that I've had have been very tactical, and I've never gotten to do a paced race like this, and so it's like being able to see this as a huge opportunity for that, and knowing that the front end of the race is going to be crazy fast, and everyone's talking about records and all this stuff, and knowing like, man, all I need to do is just stay with my pace group and be conservative but aggressive, and you have the opportunity to do something special.
I know you're one that like, you just like to run for fun. Like racing's fun to you, and maybe just, throw times, all that out the window. Like, what do you think is going to be the most fun part of this race?
I think just the fact that it's been a really long time since I've gotten to do a marathon and be in the place that I'm willing to just like take on the stress and get excitement out of that, because I think I think that's what makes a successful marathon, is being able to take all of these factors on the outside that you can't control and be like, you know what, like we're just going and having fun with it. And then my family's going to be here. They're all driving down from Wisconsin, so I'm really looking forward to that because that means a lot to me.
Yeah. Obviously, you want to have fun with this. Do you have any sort of, goals in mind or anything for yourself too as well, approaching this race?
So I'm gonna go out with the Rory Linklater's like 222 pace group. I know there's like a 222, 223, and I feel like that's like a really solid spot for me right now. Of like, it's a lot quicker than I've run before, but I feel like it's still like, as crazy as it sounds, pretty conservative compared to the front end of the race. So I think that's a pretty good like in between zone for me right now.
I also want to ask you too. I saw you did wasn't it like a trail race or like a mountain race?
Yeah.
Tell me like how that came about. You did that in the summer before this.
It was kind of an impulse thing. So basically, I was planning on doing a bunch of like really fast like 5Ks and 10Ks this summer, and I raced at BA 10K and it went so badly. Like I felt terrible. I was like, this is so weird. Like my body just feels off. Found out that I was like severely anemic. So we decided to like nix all the summer road races, but while I got like a iron infusion, I was like, you know what, it would be fun. We're driving up to Salt Lake because that's where my boyfriend's from. And there was a trail race going on. We're like, impulsively, let's do this as a long run. Just because I wasn't going to get to race anyway. Trail races are so much slower, so it doesn't really matter. You're like hiking half the time. And it's just a nice like mental break from the stress of what road racing is. There's no baggage for me on the trail. So yeah, it was a nice like training run.
Awesome. Now, I also too, I wanted to bring this up as well. Like I read the feature story that was done on you earlier this week, and just so open, very like raw and authentic and genuine. Having that put on paper, as you're going into the Chicago Marathon, your first marathon in a while. Like, I guess maybe what are some of those emotions around that? And maybe how do you use some of that stuff that you've kind of opened up about to motivate you going forward as well?
Yeah. So that article was really interesting because it was like originally supposed to come out last year before Worlds and everything, and obviously like things went so south in just my life personally, and they delayed the story, came back and basically redid the whole thing, but from the lens of like after having gone through everything I did last year and focusing all this year on getting back to this place where I'm healthy mentally and physically. It was cool to be able to really authentically share that kind of stuff, and I'm a pretty open person when it comes to that. I don't mind stuff like that being out there because I think it's really important to share the whole story of what this is. A lot of people think that you need to be very straight-laced, caged off, maybe more professional as a pro runner, but I always think that I want to be the kind of person that I wish I'd seen when I was a high schooler, and I wish that someone had been saying these things when I was a high schooler. So I hope that some kids out there reading it and being like, oh yeah, I can do this. If she can do it while dealing with neurodiversity and all this kind of stuff, I can do it too.
Yeah. And how do you hope maybe, with you kind of bringing more of that openness to the sport, how do you think maybe others within the sport as well can maybe respond and maybe do some of the same?
Yeah, I think trying to just normalize like things that everybody deals with, but nobody wants to talk about anyway. I think the more that it's talked about and the more that it's out in the open, the more people feel comfortable talking about those things. Just looking in sports, like even as recently as 5-6 years ago, people were not talking about mental health in sports, and I think there's this broader movement to finally bring this stuff to the surface. And the more it's being talked about, the more people feel comfort with talking about it, and it becomes not this big scary thing to talk about the week of your marathon. I did that back in 2020 with Runner's World. I think that was a lot scarier to have that article come out. With this one, it's like, I know what this is. People will give me shit for it, and I don't care.